Hey, let's learn about SMART method under Life Asia system in detail. SMART stands for System Methodology for Applications in Real Time and is a collection of methods and tools that enable the technical team to develop the system in a short time scale. These tools include screen design, report design, program compilations, etc. In addition to these program tools, SMART contains other aspects of the system such as security and controlling system environments so that the development of new code can be completed whilst the Life Office is writing new business, etc. It also controls accounting periods, batch processing and automatic financial batching. Company, system company, not a life company. Users of the system must be sanctioned to input and access data on a company-by-company basis, in each environment, environments explained later, in which they are required to work. Although all information for all companies is kept on the same database, users are unable to access information relating to companies for which they are not sanctioned. Companies can be used to separate and protect data. A good example is that Company 0 is reserved for the Smart System Development Utilities, and this is an area unlikely to be required by a normal administration individual. Central information such as the client database and general ledger that may need to be shared by several companies are held in the FSU, normally Company 9. Branch, not necessary a branch or sales office. Branches can be used to isolate areas of business such as traditional and unit-linked business. If a clerk is sanctioned to the traditional business branch as a new business input clerk, he would not be able to enter unit-linked new business. Master menu, submenu, and transactions. The user access has to be authorized to the master menu, submenu, and transaction. These are three distinct levels, and to get to the lowest level, all three sanctions must be granted. So the manager has complete flexibility and can sanction all his staff to the main menu and submenu but limit the transactions so that, say, the manager and supervisor are sanctioned to every transaction within the appropriate menus, but lowest level of clerk can only use the inquiry transaction and is therefore unable to complete any processing. FSU, Financial Services Umbrella. Information such as receipt sanctions and bank codes. Secured data access. Secured data access is the capability to authorize specific entities within the application. Application entity could be a contract, an agent, and so on depending on application. A user can only access the entity to which they are authorized. In Life/Asia, modification has been made on agent inquiry and contract inquiry. System environments. In any computer system installation, there is a need to have separate areas in which to work, and these areas are referred to as environments. There are normally three environments as follows. Production or release environment, code prod. This is the environment that holds the real system and where, when business commences, all your data will be held, clients, contracts, general ledger, etc. Acceptance or model office environment code XACT. During the installation process, there must be a separate area so that the administration of a company can evaluate and test the system prior to starting business. Development environment code XDEV. Programmers work developing or amending code as directed by the Life Office. All three environments have their own unique security sanction system so that you can control who has access to any environment at any time. Development environment. It is also possible to have more than one development in progress at one time and therefore will allow duplication of the acceptance and development environments. For example, if a Life Office is developing their own programs and amending the Life/Asia base system, but at the same time they wish to prepare for the conversion of existing business, this is possible as follows. Production or release. Acceptance or model office Development, new products development, conversion. Development environment. When the system is delivered, all base programs are held at the highest environment level, production. When the programmer is required to amend a particular program, he will bring a copy of the program down to the dev environment and make the necessary changes. When the programmer is satisfied that the amendments are correct and tested, the program is ready for moving to the next level, acceptance. When the transfer has been completed successfully, the program is available for testing in the acceptance area, normally by the model office team. If there are any problems and for whatever reason, either the original fix is not correct or another change is required, the programmer, by referencing it in the dev area, will automatically bring a copy of the program down to dev. Therefore, after the programmer has amended the program again, and prior to the promotion, there will be 3 copies of the program in the system. The original base program, the first amendment that is in acceptance environment, and the copy held in development. Eventually, it is hoped that the model office team will agree the program changes and therefore, the code can be transferred to the next level, production. Accounting periods. All business events are entered into accounting periods. Within an accounting year, SMART provides support for up to 13 periods. Typically, the first 12 periods are used to group each month's events, with period 13 being used for year-end adjustments within the accounting year. It is recognized that as accounting periods and financial years can be different between Life Office S, and for these reasons accounting periods are held on Table T1698. It is also known that if a Life Office has an accounting period based on the calendar month, there will be instances where items will be received on, say, the 7th of the month that have to be accounted for in the previous accounting period. Again, this situation is catered for, as it is possible to have overlapping accounting periods. An example is as follows. From April 1, 2024 to May 31, 2024, accounting period is 1 and accounting year 2024. From May 1, 2024 to June 30, 2024, accounting period is 2 and accounting year 2024. From June 1, 2024 to July 31, 2024, accounting period is 3 and accounting year 2024. Audit groups. The entry of all data into the system can be managed by batching it into audit groups. This management system is provided by SMART and is mandatory for all business events that involve the entry/creation of financial information and/or will be processed asynchronously by IT. These are the only types of events that are batched in the base delivered system. However, SMART may be asked to batch other events by changing the appropriate batching flag on the submenu definition table item. IT is the placing of a business transaction into an audit group that defines the accounting period to which it belongs, not the processing or effective date of an event. The audit group is defined as a set of business events for a company, branch, system user, transaction type, accounting period. Asynchronous thread, AT. There are 3 types of processing: online, AT and batch. Online processing is actually updating records immediately the user has completed the transaction and striking the Enter key. Batch processing is where the records are normally updated overnight through a batch job, normally run overnight, as it would be inefficient to complete these online as they would considerably slow down the system response time. AT processing is in between the previously mentioned processes where you require the record to be updated as soon as possible, but if it was a pure online transaction it would affect your system performance. A good example of a NOT transaction is contract issue. You would not want this to be run overnight, but the AT processing is used executing the online transaction in the background, allowing the user to continue working. Whilst the record is in the AT queue, it is protected by the system so that no one can attempt to modify, add or delete the same contract prior to the AT processing completion. The protection is called a soft lock. If a person attempts to complete some processing on a soft-locked contract, the system will inform you that the contract is soft-locked. Batch processing. A batch job consists of a schedule and a collection of processes within that schedule. Each batch job must be defined as a process. Process dependencies and priorities within the schedule are defined, and multi-threading, more than one batch job processing at any one time, is available to give maximum control and efficiency to batch processing. Batch processing in a SMART environment is a system in its own right, so the user must be authorized to the master menu, submenus and transactions in order to gain access. Each individual batch schedule has a transaction code to which the user must be sanctioned or authorized to in order to submit the schedule. The batch processing system allows the user to define schedules and processes and to monitor and maintain submitted batches. If required, parameter prompt screens are defined to provide an online interface between the schedule and the user, this giving the user more control over schedule. Submission. Batch processes are written to conform to a formal processing cycle. The processing is controlled by managers and monitors who are responsible for submitting and running the processes. Normally the responsibility of the computer operations area of a life office. Financial batching. Accumulating critical amounts and counting numbers of transactions within each batch controls the processing of financial information in a traditional batch system. These accumulations and transaction counts are then compared with totals calculated by the computer. Batches that do not balance are rejected. This helps detect cases when, for example, one transaction is accidentally keyed twice or amounts within transaction are miskeyed. All items for accepted batches hold details of their origin. These may include such things as accounting periods and/or batch numbers. This allows transactions that make up an account balance, for example, to be traced and audited if required. Online systems may be used to enter transactions as and when required. No formal batching is used, as it may not be possible to predict the number of transactions to be processed. The information entered is used to immediately update master files. All too often, these types of online systems lose the controls that are inherent in a batch system. Financial batching, continued. Sometimes, even when an online system is being used, batches of information are required to be entered. For example, a sub-branch may send transactions to a central office for processing if it does not have any direct access to the system. In this case, it is useful to have input controls as provided by a traditional batch system. This smart subsystem enables the user to have all the benefits associated with a batch system but without the need to always physically batch transactions for input. If specific batches are required, the clerk may use the batch control block facility to manually control them, otherwise the system will assign them automatically. A range of inquiry programs has also been included in this subsystem. These will assist in auditing the system by identifying the batches and transactions that have been entered by various users for a given accounting period. Alternate language capability. This is the ability to support other languages beside English, namely simplified Chinese and traditional Chinese version for Life/Asia. The system is able to toggle between languages set up with the use of function keys. While primarily designed for high-volume transactions in English, its client maintenance, S2480, screen supports multilingual capabilities, ACCT language, to accommodate local language requirements in Asian markets, utilizing COBOL/400 and SQL. The system includes fields for managing customer profiles with language-specific configurations for client maintenance. Life Asia is designed for the Asia-Pacific region, supporting diverse compliance and language needs. The system is built on IBM AS400 using COBOL/400, CL, control language, and SQL. Business Objects Repository. The Business Objects Repository is an optional module that packages together a number of smart business objects useful to existing users of Life/Asia. These smart business objects will allow existing users of Life/Asia to undertake projects to open up their back-office system for many projects, some of which include the following. Integrating insurance brokers' data for quick new business data entry. Integrating a CRM package, including multi-channel, contact center, web channel, WAP, etc. Integrating a web portal for consumers or business partners. Integrating a workflow package. Thank you for watching. To watch more videos, please subscribe to our channel. Life Group Asia.